Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Plays Games. My name is Richie and joining me this week is, at CyberChris2077, Mr. Chris.
Hello everyone, hope you're all good out there, having a fantastic week of video games.
Indeed. No Rob this week because he is in the business of doing probably one of the most adult things you can do in moving house. And anyone who's moved house knows how stressful and busy that is. So he's took the weekend off to focus on doing that. He should return, hopefully will return next week because you're on holiday, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not here. I'm away at the stag do in Munich. So anyone who's been to Munich, let us know in the comments below. Where should I be heading for beer and revelry?
Yeah, so next week will be me and Rob hosting all the shows. And yeah, he should be all into his new place, settled in, his setup up and running. So it'll be a different shop for Rob next week. I'm looking forward to see what he does with it. But we've got a great show lined up for you this week where we're talking about Summer Games Fest, FIFA coming to Game Pass, and could Microsoft be ready to abandon cloud gaming? All that and much, much more on this week's XPass. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel or your podcast feed of choice with notifications turned on so you're kept in the loop of all our great content here at Helix Plays Games, such as our PlayStation podcast where we break down all the news that's happening in the Sony side of gaming. Talking to PS comes out live every single Tuesday on YouTube and podcast services. Our once a month Amazon Luna podcast where we break down everything that's happening in the clouds, on the moon, in the purple side of gaming, because there's now a purple side in the UK. In Luna Listening, also available on YouTube and podcast services. We also have our weekly live streams where we usually they're Thursday. They can move around a bit as they have been recently, depending on who's available. Especially now, Chris, since you've had a child, you can't guarantee to hit every single live stream anymore. Rob typically isn't available on Thursdays.
I hit my microphone.
Yeah, I hit my microphone there. Sorry, guys. Rob can't do Thursdays, which is why if it's me and Rob, it's usually on a Friday. But this week, gone, it was me on my own playing a little known indie title called The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Talk about that in just a second. And this week coming up, it will actually be on Wednesday. So, where we'll be jumping into Fortnite on Amazon Luna.
We're going to be so bad.
Oh, God,
We're going to be so bad.
It's going to be terrible. So, we'd love for you guys to jump in with us and hopefully help us out. Because I'd rather play with our audience than against a bunch of 6-year-olds who have played hundreds and hundreds of hours of this game. And when I'm struggling, go, which is the button for build again?
Oh, I know. I'm going to struggle so bad.
Yeah, same. Chris, been playing anything interesting?
Yes, very interesting. I'm still knee-deep in my Jedi adventures with Cal Kestis and the crew of the Mantis out there in the world, a galaxy far, far away. Of course, Rob's not on the show, who has probably finished the game, I would imagine, by now. The story beats, I'm hitting some twists, some turns, some revelations, some tie-ins to the wider universe, and I'm loving every minute of it. The Metroidvania style has started to open up, so I'm unlocking new areas, I'm backtracking a little bit. I'm saving a lot of the exploration for after the game, so traditionally I'd kind of do a good bit of mop-up, but now I'm trying to prioritise my time a little bit differently with the baby. I want to kind of get through the main narrative point and then use my downtime after the fact to go kind of clear all the zones and the different planets out. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I am a Jedi Knight, and I'm having one hell of a time.
So, are you kind of almost retailoring your approach to games at the moment?
I think I have to. I don't think, looking back at some of the shows and the way I traditionally game is, I would put all that time into it, and I'd go for the Platinum Trophy, and I'd clean up, and I'd gather and get 100% in an area before moving on. That's my traditional style.
Yeah,
and I don't have that luxury now, and that's why I'm glad I'm not as committed as a trophy hunter as I once was. I think I've got one this year in Hogwarts Legacy, and that was a lot of the groundwork for that was done before the baby arrived. So yeah, I'm being a bit more particular about what I play and what I commit my time to, as I'm sure a lot of our audience who are parents realise you have to, realistically. And yeah, I'm getting, like I said, about an hour and a half, 2 hours a night usually if I'm not away with work. And yeah, I'm chipping away at the story.
Do you find sometimes with games, it's not necessarily how many hours you put into the game, but it's how stretched out that experience is? Because what I found with Octopath is, yeah, I've put a lot of hours into the game, but I've been playing it for so many weeks consecutively that I was kind of got to the point where I kind of feel like I need a break to play something else before I go back into it. Yeah. So I've maybe like focusing more on the like streamlining the experience into the main narrative, so you get the main experience, that story first, before you start exploring what the game else has to offer, is probably the better approach.
Yeah. Well, again, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff during my drives with work, and it's kind of like there's a lot of people I listen to, I want to hear their version on the story, but I can't listen to the spoiler casts until I finish the main story of the game, so that's probably another driver to get through. And I want to talk to like about Rob and everyone who we know who's completed the game, because it's just talking point. It's those water cooler moments when you want to catch up with it. And yeah, I am playing Zelda like you are, so I've got nothing to talk about on that front. But yeah, Star Wars, great game. It's definitely in there for Game of the Year contention. It seems to better everything Fallen Order did, which is what you want from a sequel. So yeah, can't wait to play more, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to talk about what happens here on the channel. But no spoilers from me. You do not see. These are not the spoilers you're looking for.
Yeah. So for me, as mentioned, I am playing Zelda, so some slight. I'm going to put a few slight spoilers in here, but everything I'm about to spoil is opening cinematic stuff. So I don't really consider that to be spoiler territory, to be honest, because they kind of need to talk about the game in some way, shape, or form. It's kind of the equivalent of saying Cal Kestis gets a lightsaber in Jedi Fallen Order.
Well, yeah, caveat, if you're listening to Talking the PS tomorrow, you just go straight into it without any prior warning.
I made that mistake,
this is your 24-hour warning for tomorrow's podcast, that he does the exact same thing.
Yeah, sorry about that. So, as I said, probably on many shows in the lead up to the release of Tears of the Kingdom, that I wasn't going to buy it. I'm saving up to go on holiday, need to save my money, say all that sort of stuff. I'm a weak-willed man and I bought the game, which that's not a spoiler. There's literally a 4.5 hour live stream on the channel of me playing the game. Mm-hmm. So if you're spoiled by that, go watch the live stream. Like, it's there. But this game, it got me straight away. Like, the opening cinematics is kind of, it's all trailer stuff, which is why I don't mind spoiling it a bit, because everything I'm talking about, you've seen in trailers if you've watched a trailer. You are starting underground with Zelda, exploring them ruins. You do find like Ganondorf within the first like 20 minutes of the game, and Ganondorf is that wrinkly, shriveled up mess as you see him.
Bit like the Voldemort shriveled thing from Harry Potter, like under the bench.
Yeah, he's kind of withered and
like a prune.
And you start, which I thought was quite nice. You do start with like full hearts and full stamina and the Master Sword. So it literally is, you're starting where you left off from Breath of the Wild. And then a thing happens, Ganondorf steals pretty much all your hearts, and that's how he kind of regenerates. And that's also how it kind of resets Link for the game, which I thought was done quite well narratively. You know, like, how do we reset Link as the player character? So you have to start from scratch and build up your hearts and stuff as you play through the game, and use that to like basically regenerate Ganondorf. And there's a lot of references to earlier titles in that game in like opening section as well. So it's like, when I was going through, I was like, oh my god, they're talking about Skyward Sword. Oh, now they're referencing Ocarina of Time. And I didn't see a Wind Waker reference, but it's like,
and then the whole map's Breath of the Wild. So
oh yeah, I mean it's literally not the whole map actually, probably about a third of it.
Ooh. Right.
But yeah, that it's great. If you like Breath of the Wild, you'll love this. I think some of the mechanics I thought looked a bit, when I saw like the gameplay stuff, when it's like, like the fuse mechanics, or like, you know, when they see them building vehicles and stuff, I thought, not really feeling that, but it is actually really fun.
Interesting. So you're doing your best Hello Engineer within Zelda.
It's quite intuitive as well, because I think sometimes stuff like that looks quite complex and go, oh god, there's so much to learn here. But like, you can just to make like a speedboat, you can literally just cut down a few trees, glue them together, and stick a fan on the back, and off you go.
So if you've got a pen and you've got a pineapple, and you combine them,
You could make pineapple pen.
That's a throwback right there. I hadn't thought about that until when you're like combining things. I was like, what two things could I combine? And it was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that video. My wife absolutely loved that song for some sadistic reason.
Yeah, it's weird. That was a weird time.
Pen, pineapple, apple,
I mean,
pen.
you can make like a hammer, which you can use to break like breakable blocks in the world, which like usually use bombs by just getting, I've got a stick and a boulder on the ground, fuse these together. I now have a hammer. So it's kind of quite intuitive with that kind of stuff. And actually the icons as well. If you pick up a weapon, you can almost look at the icon and see what two things have been fused together to make that weapon. But yeah, really good. Really enjoying it. Just need to get through this podcast now so I can go back to it.
I'm stuck on pen, pineapple, apple thing now. My brain's like, if I smile at all throughout the next like 50 minutes of this show, it's my brain. I'm now thinking, what's that guy up to now? What's he?
Should I just edit that in? Instead of the XPass intro, should I just edit that in?
No, because we'll probably get copyright for it.
All right, let's get into it, Chris. Would you like to introduce us to the
pen, pineapple, apple pen? No, it's the excellently exuberant, excavated Xbox expose, aka the news.
The news. And as always, the news is brought to you by Pen Pineapple Apple Pen. No, the news is brought to you by our Helix Heroes, which you can join for as little as 99p over on youtube.com/Helix Plays Games, which gives you early access to certain shows, custom emojis, and nice little badges and stuff in the live chat. So when we're playing things such as Tears of the Kingdom, such as Fortnite, you can stand out. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much to all of our long-standing new members and any returning members. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we mentioned it on Talking the PS, but shout out to Inlead, Crazy Bad, Chris Scott, Kumna, and John Burford for all rejoining and becoming a Helix Hero on one of our tiers again. We do appreciate your monetary support, but yeah, your time and efforts for sticking with the channel. Some of you for well beyond 2 years now since we had membership Twitchy, which is crazy to say, but wouldn't happen without your love and support, so thank you.
Yeah. So Chris, first news item of the week. Summer Game Fest Jeff Keighley has released the list of partners that are confirmed. So I don't think this is like an exhaustive list. More might be added, but this is what we have so far. Who jumps out for you, Chris?
Who jumps out for me? I mean, it's great to see so many names just in one place, because I think in the wake of E3, we all know Jeff Keighley's basically embraced this. There's a couple of obvious ones who are in there, but some unannounced ones. No, they're not. A Play On are there who are part of Embracer, so they're there in some way, shape, or form. That's when you like Embracer. You've got that many tendrils out there in the game industry. One of them's going to slip on through and get there. I can't
keep it straight. I can't remember who's the parent company, who's the small company. Like what?
To be fair, Gearbox is also there, and they're owned by Embracer. So they are there, just in some guise. For me, I guess PlayStation's obviously a surprise because they've not announced anything official, but they're obviously going to have games on show that will also be on that platform. No real big standout ones. Disney are, of course, back again, which I think after last year they had their own little Disney showcase, which we covered on the channel, which was quite poor by, I think, our standards of what we're expecting. We got a brief look into the Black Panther Captain America game, but it was very much just a tease. We got the Disney Arcade Racer, which was about that, and it was kind of all over so fast, it was almost like not worthwhile. I think there was some Dreamlight.
It's in beta, isn't it, still?
I know it launched in
March.
March, yeah. Obviously, it's seasonal-based content, so it's there. But no, aside from that, there's a couple of indie studios and a couple of tech partnership sponsors who are no doubt going to fund the whole thing, so expect plenty of advertisements from Razer, Samsung Gaming Hub, Amazon Prime Gaming, Twitch, whatever the partnership is. Netflix are there, which I guess they might showcase what their plans are, really, or they could just be a sponsor. But the biggest thing, probably Warner Bros., because out of all those, I expect a lot of them to be there, but Warner Brothers don't really have anything imminent yet. There's a rumoured Mortal Kombat game. Yeah, but it got delayed till next year, so I wondered, do you want, like, they did a show, remember they had the PlayStation State of Play, which it got ripped apart for, and then they subsequently delayed the game until the next year. I don't think coming out with content for that now is like the greatest thing, maybe. But I'm hoping to see something from maybe Wonder Woman or whatever else they've got.
Could be. Was Wonder Woman last year was announced? Or was it the year before?
I'm not too sure, actually, because it was very much just a short teaser with Wonder Woman herself and a Lasso of Truth. But other than that, it wasn't really much to go on, so I can't really place it at one of these events.
It was December 2021, so probably Game Awards. So yeah, maybe it's time for an update on Wonder Woman. That could make sense.
Yeah, it's been a long time since Shadow of War, so the Monolith team, they've been working on something since that game. And yeah, hopefully get it out maybe next year.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was something sticking with Warner Brothers around Hogwarts Legacy, if they've got plans for a DLC or something. I can't remember if anything was announced already or not announced.
They've probably just show off the Quidditch game, perhaps.
Yeah, that's not what I'm after, though.
No, me neither. I'd love some Hogwarts, like a reason maybe to go back to Hogwarts Legacy, but seemingly they're probably all focused on the Nintendo Switch release, so it might just be focusing on coming to the Switch and here's the Quidditch game, but yeah, that could be that. But I think the biggest rumour is that Mortal Kombat game. They're rumoured to reboot it, go back to Mortal Kombat 1. They put out a teaser trailer where it was like a clock getting stuck on like the 11-hour mark, and then it pings straight over to the 1 o'clock mark. So, again, I don't think either is a big video game fighting fans.
No.
So, any surprises in there in that list? Obviously, it's quite a long list. Devolver Digital are back with their own showcase in the light of E3 as well. I do like their quirky kind of tongue-in-cheek comedy skits that they do. Gearbox must be Wolf Among Us 2, finally. Like, show something like concrete from that. I doubt it's going to be anything Borderlands, because it feels a bit soon for that. Anything for you that jumps off the page?
The one that catches my eye, which it probably shouldn't because it's Sega. So Sega's just like, it's with things like Activision and like Square Enix and Xbox and PlayStation, Ubisoft, it's just expected to be there. But the reason I'm focusing on Sega is I think it's time for a Persona 6 announcement. Like, Persona 5 came out quite a while ago. Then they brought out Royale, and they've done some of the spin-off titles. They've recently remastered 3 and 4. I think an announcement of a Persona 6 now to come out maybe late next year, or early the following year, early 2024. 25 feels about time. Like time to move on.
Yeah, I mean it does feel like it's been a good while since that, so hopefully we'll see something.
I wouldn't expect anything Sonic at the moment because we've just had Sonic Frontiers. Was that this year? Was it last year? But that didn't really. It kind of came.
Yeah, they did announce that there was going to be some update expansion where you get to play as like Knuckles, Tails, and Amy. I want to say.
Oh yeah,
so that might be in the pipeline.
Other than that, I'm looking
CD
at
Projekt. So that could be a Witcher tease.
Before hitting, we were discussing, could this be Cyberpunk or could this be Witcher or could it be something different? We know they've got some things in, like they're building on there, so it'd be interesting. I'm interested to see what them. Bandai Namco always going to do interesting stuff. Annapurna, they come up with some interesting stuff from time to time.
Yeah, they're more publishing, aren't they? They did Stray last year, I recall. Yeah. So obviously nothing to do with that. It's probably just one of their other smaller games. Capcom could be there with a new Monster Hunter game. Like, it's been a while since Monster Hunter World. You're talking a couple of years now. They had Rise, which did well on ones that broke out of the Switch's ecosystem earlier this year.
We'll talk a bit about Capcom tomorrow and talk on the PS, actually. EA? What would you expect from EA outside the sports titles?
I don't think they have really anything outside of it. I think they're going to go all out EA Sports FC this year. I think that is going to be their primary focus of making people remember and realise that FIFA is no longer, and they're all in on this one. I think all their budget and time is probably going to be spent on making sure their millions are focused on that, because I don't think there's that much. There's Codemasters games, possibly. Grid Legends is past. There might be a Dirt game, possibly in the works, but
I think they need something. I mean, because I know Jedi Survivor's just dropped and it's done really well, but I think they need what's the next thing. If you're not into your racing or your sports titles, what's the next EA game that you should be looking forward to?
We might see.
It doesn't have to be Star Wars. It could be something different, but
we might see the It Takes Two follow up because he's been working on something. Joseph Farah's team.
That'd be nice.
Firelight Studios.
You know what?
Like
That'd be all right if they're going to go. He's something that's coming from Codemasters. The big focus is going to be on EA Sports FC, and here's a few of the like EA original sort of stuff. That could be good there.
But in amongst all that, the biggest thing is obviously Xbox is sandwiched in the middle of it all, and I think the biggest focus, Richie, is that Xbox need to bring the heat this summer. Like, they need to tell us what all the studios, we've lamented them quite a lot, and so has the wider industry and the journalists and stuff in the last couple of months, and that was obviously ramped up to 1 million with the failure of Redfall past week, and Phil Spencer coming out and having an honest interview, which I think to some degree has probably backfired on him for almost being too honest, like championing your brand and then coming out and saying, yeah, we're in third place, we're happy in third place, if we make good games that won't change people's minds. And it's kind of like, you should always be striving to make good games and
the thing is,
get people to move.
That part of what he said, I mean, he probably knows better than me. He's seen the numbers. But as a gamer, what I want is good games. And if you're like, I know you just that whole thing about people are like cemented to the digital libraries and stuff. I do still think though that every new console generation is a semi reset though, because if you go out and if you're in the PS4 ecosystem, and then you decide to buy an Xbox Series X, you still have your PS4. You don't lose that library. You're just building a library somewhere else. So there is something to be said for like bridging the gap. And with Xbox's current kind of play anywhere mentality, they should kind of really be... It almost feels like these two things are not meshing well. It's like, well, if we can't outgame Sony... But you also want people to play anywhere, so that makes it easy to access Xbox content with things like Game Pass. So what you need is, realistically, the games to kind of... Game Pass should be that thing. Well, I've got a laptop, I can use cloud gaming to play something like Starfield and go, oh God, this is amazing. I'll buy an Xbox to get the best performance I can out of this. So I think you can run people
I get what he was trying to say. I just think he maybe... Again, he was a bit defeated last week, wasn't he?
So dramatically. Well, bear in mind, it's the double whammy of the Activision Blizzard King deal almost feeling like it's done in the water. And then Redfall was nowhere near expectation.
And then your competition comes out with Zelda this week, which is a 10 out of 10 across the board title, which is no doubt going to be in a Game of the Year conversation.
It's
just more fuel on the fire, right?
When I booted up Zelda and was like, bear in mind how much we have, despite not having a Nintendo show, we have talked about how the Switch's hardware feels very aged. When Zelda arguably looks and performs better than Redfall on the Switch compared to in modern consoles such as the Series S.
Series X, yeah.
Well, I've only got a Series S, so I can only compare.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're getting something wrong, like that.
But this is where they need to come out, isn't it, and say look, here's Hellblade has a date. It's coming before Christmas this year. Here's what Obsidian are working on. He's final shows what Avowed looks like. Here's all of our other studios. This is what the Indiana Jones game looks like. He's a full trailer and gameplay. And here's your Starfield kind of showcase after the fact. And they need to blow us away because all the publishers that are on there, they're all going to bring the heat and they're going to bring their own list of games to it. And it's going to be an interesting... again, Redfall might have to fall so the rest of them can run and walk almost.
It needs
get out the door, move on. That's the last bad batch of everything.
It needs to be a learning experience.
Purchase.
I think it's like, you know what actually really doubled down on me with how much a bad Redfall actually is. It's like, well, I think I said before, like when we first loaded up into the lobby, the first thing that jumped out at me is how kind of crappy and the character models looked. They looked like really like from like almost like a PS3 era, character models. And last weekend, I jumped into a bit of Final Fantasy VII Remake I was playing on my PS5, but the character models and that look absolutely stunning. It's like, this is the standards, Xbox, But anyway,
it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Just Ubisoft. Again, Ubisoft are in a similar place to Xbox where they need to bring the heat to showcase. They haven't done a Ubisoft Forward for quite some time, whereas they did usually have a cadence of about 3 a year, and then they've held off a lot recently.
Because everything kept getting delayed.
Yeah, so Ubisoft need to really come out swinging with, like, just get Skull and Bones out the damn door. Shows what's going on with some of your titles. Like, where's Assassin's Creed Mirage? Like, I honestly thought we'd be playing it by now. Like, it was supposed to be like an early 2023 game, and we're going into June. None really the wise. We've seen no gameplay. We just had that cinematic trailer with Basim running around, and yeah, like Valhalla's running out of steam now. Surely, like, you need to get your next entry out.
I mean, for me, Valhalla ran out of steam 2 years ago, but I mean, they kept selling it, so like Ubisoft are not going to care about that.
The Crew Motorsport shows what that's going to look like. That's apparently coming out later this year. So they need to get on that. And
Mirage is the big thing for me there. I think Mirage is going to be the big drop. And I think they've missed a window. I think there was a bit of a window at the start of the year. And the next window, I think, is going to be in the summer. But if they're going to be talking about a Summer Games Fest the next time, then it's probably going to be end of the summer. I think it's going to come out. I'm going to go maybe August, September.
Yeah. Avatar.
Bear in mind, it's meant to be a smaller title. And Mirage is meant to be a slightly smaller title.
Yeah, like it's back to the roots. And yeah, Avatar's one that's it was on my radar really, really heavily, and then it kind of dragged out for so long that I lost interest when I realised it was first person, because I feel like Avatar should just be third person. It just has that world. I want to be running around as a Na'vi or as a human in that world, seeing my character. I don't want to be just running around Far Cry style. However, I went to see the Avatar movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it more than I ever thought I would, and I was blown away by its visual fidelity in it. I enjoyed the story, and I'm now back on the Avatar train where I was like, actually, you know what? I'd quite happily play a game. So they've delayed it. They're putting polish on it, which is hopefully going to bear fruit. And hey, you know what? It might be in time for the next Avatar movie this Christmas instead of the last one. But yeah, Ubisoft need a win, don't they, realistically? And I hope the surprises were something new. And as much as I'm probably going to enjoy Mirage, I have still got one eye on that feudal Japan Assassin's Creed game, because I've also got an itch for Ghost of Tsushima at the moment. And if it can beat Ghost of Tsushima out the gate, then it might have my Japanese history eyes on it as well.
PlayStation are there, though, and I wouldn't be that surprised for announcing Ghost 2.
Oh, no, I definitely think that's going to be a thing, but it's like, who can get it out the door the quicker? Because it's going to be like a chicken and the egg scenario where, like we had with Resident Evil and... Dead Space and...
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember the game. Callisto Protocol, where it's like, oh, you're both so similar. One's a tried and tested one, one's new. Who's going to get the kind of share of the spoils?
I'd back Sony to be honest, I'd actually kind of, at the moment, I'd back Sony to not give a damn about what Ubisoft are doing with a similar game.
Oh,
as well as Assassin's Creed sells, Ghost of Tsushima 2 will sell incredibly well, and I think anyone on the PlayStation ecosystem, given the choice, is more likely to go for Ghost rather than Assassin's Creed, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be the better game as well, so...
Yeah, I think they'll be looking at it and going... We don't really. If you want to go first, we don't mind. If we go first, that's okay either. It's like we're not worried in terms of you, like in Assassin's Creed in Japan stealing our sales. But I hope that Ubisoft changed my mind, but they haven't really done anything in recent years to make me think otherwise. I want Ubisoft to step up the quality. That's it. Like same with Xbox. It's like, come on, guys, take the step up. It's there to be done. Like. You guys are more than capable of like really getting me excited for what you're doing. So please do it.
Will it get you excited for cloud gaming, Richie?
Maybe, although I will, despite our history in cloud, kind of say like cloud gaming I've moved away a bit from, because I'm just finding less use for it. Now I've got a Series S, a PlayStation, and a Switch is somehow still going strong. But this is what you're alluding to, is a Windows Central article that suggests Microsoft and Xbox might be pivoting away from cloud gaming.
I was indeed.
So what do you think? Because, well, I'm going to actually rephrase what I've just said. I'm no longer looking at cloud gaming as an immediate kind of thing, as a, hey, this could gaming in 2023 could be all about cloud gaming. I think with things like the death of Stadia, I think Luna, while it's still going, has slowed after its initial launch. I think now they're switching to the more of a long game.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Their European wider launch, Canada, Germany stuff, they've not made any real buzz about it. At all. I've not seen any. I'm in this ecosystem. I'm following their socials, and I don't feel like there's much buzz. And I know we said that on Luna Listening. Marketing needs to be the big step, but Microsoft have always been the kind of fly in the ointment for all these other startup cloud companies, that they already had the library, they already had the experience, the heritage, their fan base, and they tacked, rightly so, cloud on as another avenue. And Phil Spencer said it's part of that Play Anywhere experience, that Microsoft Xbox ecosystem where you play on Game Pass, you can play wherever you want to, and it's the dream. And Xbox had cloud gaming, XCloud, Project XCloud are up and running. It's still in beta, technically, and it seems to be improving all the time. And evidently, according to this article from Jez Corden over at Windows Central, of course, Jez hosts the Xbox 2 podcast, fantastic podcast in its own right, covering all the Xbox news, and he's got a lot of inside sources. It just seems to be that cloud gaming isn't financially doing it for Xbox as much as maybe they were hoping it would do. And I do kind of get this gut feeling that once again, it's just like on live, it's maybe too early for the general public to accept it as only a cloud only world.
That's where I'm kind of at. For me, cloud gaming still has some really, really cool benefits, like the ability to pretty much play any game wherever you are on pretty much any device. That's the dream. The problem with that is, I know we're getting a lot of these handheld devices such as the Steam Deck and the Asus Ally stuff coming out. The problem is the Wi-Fi only devices. They're designed to kind of fill the same space as cloud gaming to allow you to play wherever you are without actually relying on the cloud. So these devices are now coming into fore, which I think is it's attacking the cloud gaming market a bit. And although then you're still effectively buying an expensive box, instead of putting it on your TV, you're just carrying it around with you.
Yeah.
But I also think there's something to be said for infrastructure in a lot of countries, because things like cloud gaming should be perfect for if you have to travel a lot for things like work. Hotel Wi-Fi is almost exclusively garbage. Mobile data is patchy as hell. And also in the UK, you have data caps. That's what we don't have them in Wi-Fi, but we do have them in the mobile space. So there's that consideration as well. And again, I think cloud gaming kind of burst onto the scenes a few years ago and has slowed a bit. I don't think it's dead. I think it will continue to grow, but it's not the priority at the moment.
Yeah, they've obviously had that pushback too of the CMA, the Activision King Blizzard deal, and they cited cloud gaming as one of the stumbling blocks because it was an emerging market. It was going to be worth X amount of millions in terms of the industry income in the years to come, and they saw Microsoft as gaining a monopoly advantage on that. And then it kind of looks like...
Again, it's... Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, so they get a monopoly in cloud gaming. They've almost got one anyway. They've signed deals with things like Nvidia, Nintendo, etc., Boosteroid, to bring these games over. So they're literally legislating their way out of a monopoly. And Sony could compete if they chose to. And Sony already have a bigger... By Phil Spencer's own admission, a bigger market share, and built largely on their first-party titles. So Sony don't need Activision Blizzard games to be successful in the cloud gaming space. What they need is a good service and their titles on it.
To do something with it. But yeah, it seems like we know obviously Fortnite's been available on xCloud for quite a while now, and people still just prefer to play natively, and it does come back to is just the general public not ready for it yet. And we've seen that with many elements of technology in yesteryear, when just because you're first doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the best. And it seems that everyone seems to be dabbling in it. Obviously, Google attempted and failed. Amazon are currently doing it. And I do probably think it's probably going to be another decade until we reach that infrastructure level when it's just accepted, and like the generations who maybe aren't gamers now, they grow up and it's the convenience factor which wins them over. And with something like Game Pass, it's the subscription, the price model. So price and convenience are probably two of the biggest indicators of purchasing decisions in any industry, any consumer market, and they just need to get, like we've said time and time, Richie, just needs to be good enough. And if Xbox, yes, it might not be making money, but I'd hate to think they just pull the plug on it and go, you know what, clouds, it's not a pillar of our ecosystem anymore, because I love using it still. I don't think they will as well. I think it's not forward thinking, and Microsoft have enough money to absorb that. It might not be making the money yet, but if they're thinking long term, 10 years, then I think that's when it'll play its biggest part.
I think you might see a bit of a deprioritization from Microsoft. They're going to put less investment into the cloud, but I think they'll still put some. I almost think Google Stadia is this kind of nexus point where the future cloud could have went two ways. It could have kept going on this like exponential growth path, but Google throwing in the towel meant that there's no and Amazon haven't really tried to get up to that standard yet. Mm-hmm. Sony just have almost masked what they're doing around the cloud. Nintendo have like half of it a toe in the water. It's only really GeForce Now that actually Nvidia are pushing it in any real way. It's like, so it's like where's the market come from if there's no one pushing it? Microsoft are well placed to kind of go, you know what, we're happy for cloud gaming to be a slow burn because we've already got a huge market share in the cloud gaming space, and if people aren't playing the cloud, they can still play on an Xbox. And for Microsoft, cloud gaming is almost the best of both worlds, where you can play, say, Starfield. Let's say Starfield comes out, it's 11 out of 10. Sat at home, you can be in front of your TV with your Series X, playing in the 4K, hopefully 60 frames per second, absolute beautiful ray tracing, making the best use of the power of that console. And then you go to work, and on your hour lunch break, you pull out your phone, strap a keyshi to it, and then you continue playing through the cloud.
Yeah.
That's where cloud can come. It can become a very good utility for Xbox.
Yeah.
And eventually, I do think the future of gaming is in the cloud, full stop. I think that will get to the point as hardware becomes more and more expensive and difficult to produce. You got things like how do you keep things cool? That's a big part of it at the moment. How do you keep components cool? So I think that it will be the way it goes, just not yet.
Yeah, I think in Jez's article he goes on to look at other things, and Microsoft pulled the plug on their Mixer streaming service. They invested loads of money on getting like big names in, and then it just absolutely full. I think remember Ninja? I think did they pay him millions, and then he signed a contract with them for like 3 or 5 years. And then they just shut Mixer down and he got the full payout or something for signing for them, which was a massive deal for him. But is that like the writing on the wall that if they go through the same thought process and the shareholders are thinking like cloud isn't making us any money, it costs a lot to run these servers, we could better look at it maybe like investing that elsewhere, maybe in their game studios, for example, and development of the games that do bring them in money. But then Game Pass brings up the argument, do they even make money? Because like Redfall, whether it was a good game or a bad game, did any real people buy it outright for $70? Because it was in Game Pass. So like they've already kind of broken their ecosystem a little bit. So then is cloud gaming, as you said, just like a great benefit on top of the foundation they've already laid down with 20 years of Xbox? Probably. And it's just, are we just waiting for the audience to catch up?
The one thing we have to remember when we're comparing like cloud gaming for Microsoft, for Xbox and Sony and for PlayStation is Microsoft as a company are interested in cloud technology. Sony aren't really. So Microsoft are going to be developing this technology regardless what Xbox is doing. So it's almost like that almost mitigates some of the cost of having Xbox on the cloud, because Microsoft could point out when they're dealing with partners and going, hey, you should use Microsoft's web services, cloud services. They can go point to Xbox as a perfect candidate and go, this is how powerful these tools can be to you who's doing things like protein folding in like research for medical devices and stuff. Like, it's a weird thing to say, but it's like, well, this is how powerful this technology can be for you and how much it can reduce your overheads. So you don't need to buy incredibly expensive supercomputers. You can just give us a subscription fee through the cloud. So I think there's other elements of Microsoft can prop up the desire to keep Xbox on the cloud a bit, even if it isn't moving the needle in games. And I also think Microsoft's seeing this as a long burn. They'll be going, you know what, we're happy to take the entire lifespan of this console generation and even the next one to just keep building it.
Hopefully, because that's the foresight we'd hope Google had. Like, just see it out, and you will this will come true if you stick to it. You just need to be patient, and as I've said before, like let the generation of gamers who doesn't exist yet grow up, realize that they can play these games without asking the parents for a £400 console, without having to ask for a £70. Because again, I don't know about you, I only ever got video games when it was my birthday or Christmas growing up.
100%.
Whereas with subscription models, kids now have access to so much stuff. And I used to have to fight with my brother and sister about who got the TV to play over stuff, and you had to take turns. We didn't have like a console each or anything. So in like worlds where like people are pressed for money, we've said time and time again, the benefit of cloud gaming is no dedicated hardware required. Use the tech you've already got. Everyone has internet pretty much now, and it just seems built for the future, and it just again, we're just waiting for the audience to catch up with it. We're on the cutting edge because we're tech enthusiasts, Richie. We have all of the consoles. We talk about it. Like my job, I live and breathe technology nearly every day of the week. But we're not the market anymore, because again, for businesses, you have to future-proof and you have to look ahead. Google seemed to be onto that. Amazon seemed to be onto that, and they threw in the towel after 3 years before you could even make a AAA game. The time it took to make a trip, again, they threw in the towel, which was, I think, piss poor on their side. Google, but I hope Microsoft have that vision to commit to it.
Google, I think they really shot themselves in the foot with Stadia, where they overpromised and underdelivered out the gate, which put them already on the back foot. They'd never managed to make the ground, which they got in the bad side of the gaming press industry. And there's a lot of, I think, unfair coverage of the early days Google Stadia from the gaming press, which meant it made it harder to break into the mainstream. They didn't market as well as they should, so it wasn't breaking into. I know marketing isn't everything, but if people don't know your platform exists, you're not going to get them on it, and that was one of the problems. You talk to people, we talk to our friends who are like us, gaming and tech enthusiasts, and didn't even know anything about it. That's a problem. Yeah. And then they closed the game studios before they even got a game out the door. I think they completely underestimated how much it would cost. And I think they just got cold feet and just pulled out, which is unfortunate because it could have been something special, which is why I invested in it.
And now they're investing in a folding Pixel phone. So where's your money better spent? Who knows? So I just hope Microsoft see it out. I'd hate to think Phil or whoever just like puts out a blog post that says, come, I don't know, December 2024, we're deciding to close our Azure servers and XCloud will go back to being native, because then it just limits the scope of the gaming ecosystem. I genuinely miss being able to play FIFA on my phone. I put more hours into the last year's version of FIFA than I have done in the last probably 5 or 6 years, because it offered me the convenience to play AAA games on the move. Now I don't have that. I don't play FIFA half as much.
Well,
so it's this like a needs case basis that did it for me, and it can do it for like millions more if they want to expand into new territories who can't afford the hardware and stuff. But it's, again, I know it's just an article from Jez and talking from like internal sources and everything, and again, it might not be doing the numbers they'd hope for, but that's the thing with any new industry. You can't predict how much it's going to grow. You can have a look at statistics, you can base it on other things, but this is new ground, and if you want to be entrepreneurs and pioneers, you need to invest, and I just hope Microsoft are down for it.
And sometimes the investment is time and patience, and not getting cold feet on the project. But this is where I think sometimes you have the problem with shareholders who are more interested about turning over profit quickly, so they get their dividends, rather than focusing on, well, actually, if we commit to cloud gaming in 10 years' time, we look at the market share now. If that's going to decline a bit. But in 10 years' time, we will still be the major player in cloud gaming, which then means like this could be how we finally get back on top. This is how it could be how we bridge. Sony aren't putting the investment in there. Nintendo aren't putting the investment in there. They're the two biggest players in the gaming industry, as more and more people switch to cloud gaming over time, it's going to be a long burn. We are the best people positioned, so let's stay the course. Don't hold our nerve. Accept it's going to cost us. Focus on the plan. Like, right, what we need to do is we need to bring out top tier AAA games that won't get people to want to go into the Xbox ecosystem. And then when they see, oh, I can play this game on the move on my phone, that's when they get them into cloud gaming, which then go, actually, this cloud gaming stuff works. And that's how you break it through, in my opinion.
It really is. Like, I could see a world in 10 years' time when everyone's hyped for Starfield 2 to come out, and there is no Xbox console. And as we've alluded to, it's just an ecosystem. You're playing on your smart TV, which has Xbox Game Pass built in. You're maybe playing on your Switch 2. That's got Game Pass on it. Your PlayStation 6 has Game Pass on it. You can play on your PC. You can play on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, whatever. You've just got access to Starfield 2 on pretty much any screen you've got, any device you own. Microsoft get their dividends through their subscription model, which is hopefully a lot bigger than it was. Hell, Redfall 2 might even be out, Richie. But we're in a world where, you can just play these games for as little entry point as you want, with as little entry point tech as you need, and Microsoft start to see that point where their subscribers, which is what everyone's after, think of Disney Plus and Netflix, all the arguments that go on over there in that world. Same with Spotify and stuff and musical royalties. It's the same thing, it's just happening to gaming, and it's a slow burn by nature, I think, of the gaming industry. It's very different from the rest of them. And I'd love to live in a world where I just have very similar to how I'm living now, where you and me jump on a live stream. I want to play a game. I see it day one. There it is. I boot it up and I can play it without any installation, any faffing around. And if I wanted to take it on the move, I can do. And I know a lot of our audience think that way. They're quite tuned in with how it works. A lot of us, of course, who are Stadia fans, who are maybe Luna fans as well. GeForce Now, like that's the goal. That's the dream. And I think a lot of people, when Stadia died, who went back on themselves, they felt that regression. Native will always be number one. We've never said it won't be.
Yeah,
but
100%.
It's the convenience, mate. Like, we don't pay. I didn't buy Redfall, so I'm not as pissed off that it wasn't great. But I can play it anywhere I want, and that again is a big testament to the new audience coming through. All your kids out there, my daughter, when they're finally getting into games, they can play it on any device.
The thing is, native
stick with it, Microsoft.
Native will always be better, but I think cloud gaming can get to a point where, in order for native to be better, the cost of the hardware is it will become out of reach of most people. And that's when cloud gaming takes over as the mainstream. When it's actually, it's good enough on the cloud. Yeah, I could go buy a PC, but in order to get better performance out of a gaming PC, I'm going to have to spend £1,500, £2,000. And the home consoles, maybe they'd have to be maybe £1,000 a box to get better than what I could get through the cloud. And most people won't be able to afford that and again, justifying it to kids who've grown up with smartphones, used to playing games on their phones. How do you justify £1,000 box under your TV when you can play the same games on the device you already own for a subscription fee? Yeah.
So they just need to stick with it.
Talking about subscription fees, Game Pass. And FIFA 23 is coming to Game Pass as part of EA Play. So, Chris, you might be able to get to play FIFA on your phone again.
Yeah, I might. Obviously, it's one of those things. If you purchase the games outright, they're not currently streamable in the cloud, which Microsoft have said. I think it was probably about a year ago now. Their intent is to get that on. It's obviously taking some time because each game then needs to have like a cloud equivalent version running. I guess
their probably executives have kind of been busy with a bit of a merger going on.
Yeah, just a little bit. So it's a while, but FIFA hits Xbox Game Pass, which hopefully means we get a cloud version. There are EA games that are cloud streamable, like Battlefront and some of the older ones, Dead Space and that you can play. So fingers crossed, Richie, I can go back to chipping away at my FIFA game, or soon to be EA Sports FC, in the cloud. But it's a good get. FIFA's
the last ever FIFA.
Yeah, the last ever FIFA going straight into Game Pass Ultimate. I've enjoyed chipping away at this year. Again, not played as much because of the portability factor. However, it's a good get. The seasons, as we know, the football season tends to wrap up here in Europe about May time. So it's probably the smart time to give it that boon of players and just give it away for free, because the luster of the game's almost gone because the new one comes out in a few months' time.
EA are smart with this. What they're doing is they know at this point FIFA 23 is not going to sell anymore realistically, or it's going to be heavily discounted in order to get it to sell.
Yeah.
So by dropping it on EA Play and therefore on Game Pass, what they can do is get a lot of people in the ecosystem, and then they can sell you some trading cards in Ultimate Team. That's where they're banking on financially.
Yeah. I would say at this stage of the year, if you went to trade in FIFA 23 at like a Cash Converters or a CX here in the UK, you're talking like £1 or £5 maybe tops, because the resale value is so low.
I don't think even £5. I think you get £1. Because actually, in fact, if I was running one of them shops, I don't think I'd even take it, because I know I'm going to struggle to shift this. Because as soon as the next FIFA comes out, it's completely redundant. Like, it's not like other games where you go, you know what, it's a bit of an older title, but there's still an audience for that. I do think all the FIFA games are literally redundant as soon as the next one comes out. I mean, you can go and enjoy and play it, but like, really? Who is? Like, the online community is going to move, most of the online community is going to move to the next one straight away. And the offline community, well, if you're playing offline, then all the squads are wrong.
I tell you what, though.
Yeah.
CX, just did a quick check. We buy for cash £15 still. And if you want a voucher, £23.
Oh, mine's digital. I was thinking like...
I could get rid of it then.
Yeah, it's like... Maybe
and then ironically, they flip it and sell it for £38. So, like...
No, they don't. They really don't.
That business is there.
They sell it for £12 in 10 years, in like 2 years' time.
Again, this going on Game Pass, obviously, it'll depreciate it quite quickly. It's so funny. I know, obviously, just going off on a tangent, but Grand Theft Auto 5, they still pay £8 cash for Grand Theft Auto 5, which is crazy. Like, that game is so old now. And if you're selling a copy of... If you're selling a copy of Frozen on DVD, they'll give you 1 pence for it.
Really? I thought they'd give you more for that, to be honest.
Because Frozen's 1 pence cash. 10 pence for a voucher, and they'll flog it for £2 resell. But we digress. Microsoft stick with it. FIFA, great get for Game Pass. Yeah.
A few quick stories just to round out the show. Elden Ring has surpassed 20 million sold. Not bad numbers, that.
Not for a little brand new entry into a new franchise from Software. Absolutely smashing it, yeah. 20.5 million units is no number to be shunned at, which, again, I think it's definitely... That genre in the last kind of 5 years has just been elevated to, like, everybody's favourite genre now. Like, the Soulsborne game style is just crazy.
While I do appreciate the genre from afar, it's not for me. And what annoys me a bit is when something like the Soulsborne stuff takes over, every company turns around and goes, let's do that. And then it's like, you start getting the elements of these games that I'm not particularly fond of, like the crushing, brutal difficulty going to other games. And it's like, not every game has to be the same, guys.
Well, yeah, Game Pass is getting Lies of P later this year, and it looks fantastic. That steampunk take on Pinocchio, so intriguing. But if I can't get past the first boss fight like I did in Wolong Fallen Dynasty, I'm probably not going to see it through the end, because I get frustrated, I get stressed, I don't have the time to get good in my life, so I'll move on. Whereas if it was easier and not Soulsborne inspired, and it just told me a great story in a 3D action adventure world, I'd probably see the story through, and maybe even go for like the top achievement or platinum trophy.
I thought, for me, Ghost of Tsushima balanced it perfectly. It balanced that difficulty. Also, it had a difficulty slider, so you could kind of tailor it to yourself.
That does help.
Where even a normal difficulty, it was challenging, but not brutal. And I do think sometimes Soulsborne games, I actually do think are unfair to new players. And I hate the argument of, well, you just have to get good. And it's like, well, yeah, but if I have to spend 20 hours before I can get into the starting content of a game just to get good enough, for me, I'm not in love with that sort of stuff. Elden Ring, I enjoyed more than I expected, and I can definitely appreciate why people love that game so much. But it's still also not for me, which is why I never really went back to it. I finished one boss, which is more than you and Rob can say. But yeah,
that's fair.
Good game, but not for me. Plague Tale Requiem has finally got an update for a performance mode, which is something I was hoping for, because Back when I played Plague Tale Innocence, that game ran incredibly well for me on my Series S. Really enjoyed my time with it. Then I went to jump straight into Requiem, and the problem I had is, you know how we're kind of on the fence with like 60-30 frames per second argument stuff.
Yeah.
When you drop from 60 straight to 30, it's more noticeable than if you went just into 30. I struggled. I felt a bit janky and not as smooth and not as slick as like I was hoping, and it did put me off a little bit. But the downside for this is only on Series X.
I was just waiting to get to that point where, this is this the Series S holding things back? And I know loads of people have said like, well, Xbox as well have said like, no, it doesn't. It's not hampering the industry's progression. If all these updates are coming out and they're only on the top level tier hardware, then how long before the Series S gets left behind and things keeping up with it? Just like we've seen with the Switch, Hogwarts Legacy got delayed this week again, back to November, because it's obviously taking a lot of time to condition that game for the performance levels that the Switch is
done a good job
of.
Though. Reportedly done a very good job, to the point where I would be I've mentioned now Discord, link in description for Hogwarts Legacy. If I only had a Switch, based on the job they've done moving it to the Xbox One and PS4, and managing to get it looking good enough while maintaining the performance levels that you would expect, if they can do that, I would be optimistic about that than being able to do that again for the Switch. So if you're a Switch-only player, Hogwarts Legacy is something you should keep an eye out on.
Yeah, I'd love to play it on my Switch. It's kind of like, again, that portability factor of that game. If they can get it to run that well, that would be fantastic. Plague Tale Requiem, one of my favourite games of last year. It's such a sleeper hit franchise. It ticks all, as you know, it ticks all my boxes of the type of games I'm looking for.
Innocent
Third person, story. It's just so, and again, graphically, for again, a small studio with nowhere near as much budget as you get, how much better than Redfall did Innocence look, Richie? And that's like 4-year-old now, that game.
You know what? Innocence holds the title. It holds an equivalent title to Horizon Zero Dawn for me, where Horizon Zero Dawn was the first title on PlayStation I ever got the Platinum Trophy for. Plague Tale Innocence is the first title on Xbox I got 100% on.
So it's got a nice little personal touch.
Yeah,
And there was so many moments in Requiem where I stopped and used photo mode because I was like, this game is just gorgeous.
I do intend to go back to Requiem. As I said, I think it was just the jarring nature of going from Innocence to Requiem and the drop in frame rate. I struggled to get beyond, where my hope was always, if I put a bit of time between them. Like, I've been playing Breath of the Wild on 30 frames per second and absolutely fine with the experience. So I think it's like kind of moving away from it, then to come back without being conditioned to that higher level of smoothness will make it easier for me to get into the game.
Yeah.
But
so maybe after you finish Breath of the Wild,
probably not, because I've also got Jedi Survivor and the Horizon. Yeah. I've got things like Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I want to replay Final Fantasy 7.
Maybe by the end of the year.
This Crisis Core. It's on the list. It's on the list alongside Shadow of War and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. In these perpetual... It's still installed on my Xbox.
Backlog.
As is Shadow of the Tomb Raider is actually installed on either my PS4 or PS5, can't remember which. It's still installed because I do intend to play it, so I don't... when you go, I need to delete something, like, no, I'm not deleting that. Because I want it there in my library as a reminder.
I feel you.
But...
Back catalogues, man.
That is all we have time for you this week. If you like the show, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, or your podcast that podcast feed of choice, so you're kept in the pipeline of all of our great content here over Helix Plays Games, such as Talking the PS, XPass, Luna Listening, our live streams, where in 2 days' time on Wednesday we'll be jumping into Fortnite as another
amateurs.
Absolute amateurs. I was about to say first for the channel, but we have actually played Luna before. I haven't played Luna on stream yet though, so it's a first for me.
Give the audience what's the update on your Arkham Knight thing, because you teased it like 2 weeks ago, and I'm curious as well. So are you writing it off?
No, I'm not writing it off. The whole thing with Arkham Knight is this is not a time dependent thing for the channel. So I don't currently have Amazon Prime or Luna Plus. I'm going to get Luna Plus because I've got a 7-day trial for Fortnite, and then I'm going to record Arkham Knight at the same time while it's active. So that's the plan. So I would have actually been recording it either today, which is Saturday, or tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then it probably would have went out this week for you guys listening, if I hadn't changed my mind and playing Fortnite last week and went to play Zelda. So it's being put back just for that reasons, because I want to get into the same like trial.
Is Hyrule better than Gotham?
Yes.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks.
Christopher Nolan's Gotham, though, fantastic. The Joker, really enjoyed. Actually, the Batman, Gotham's really good, actually.
It's just New York.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Where are you going in the summer?
I hope New York's a bit nicer than Gotham. Gotham's notoriously a bit... It's kind of its thing.
Hey, so was New York back in the day.
It is. Well, it's probably inspired what Gotham is. But again, all the time, we've Discord server is in the link below. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Goodbye.
Ta-ra.